All right, good afternoon. Happy Friday, and welcome to a PCA Government Affairs Update. I am Scott Pierce, the Executive Director of the Premium Cigar Association, joined here by the crew, Mr. Joshua Bursky, and as everybody knows, Glenn Loop. We're coming to you Friday afternoon. Hope everybody down in Florida is safe, that all of your loved ones are well. We wish you all the very best in this time, and hope everybody's okay. And wishing you all the best here from PCA headquarters before we dive into this quick government affairs update. This will be a little bit brief today, just kind of going over a little bit of the lay of the land, especially as it's September, which means that now we are back in session on the Hill. So that always means that we've got some do-gooders that are out there crusading that we have to fight against. I use the term do-gooders like that. Anyway, so I'm going to turn it over to Josh. He can kick it off, and we'll go through what we've got looking at for government affairs.
Yeah, it's been a crazy few weeks. We've had a lot of activity going on. As many of you are aware that the political season is upon us. It seems it's fundraiser after fundraiser, event after event. And, we're doing our best to ensure that candidates that are favorable and understanding of premium cigars and premium tobacconists and small business are getting elected. So we've been hosting events, we've been attending events as the campaign season is in full cycle. Congress is expected to gavel out today. They did pass the continuing resolution to fund the government. Nothing bad in that bill. I think we're being very mindful and cautious as this Congress concludes all the way, especially until November, and then into the lame duck session. But we want to ensure that there's no user fee hikes in there or any poison provisions that pop up out of nowhere. I would say the other focal point for our government affairs team is the policy summit that we'll be hosting directly after the week after Election Day on Capitol Hill, talking about domestic policy during the first day, and the second day talking about international policy. And international policy has been an area where our team has really gotten involved this year in particular. Glenn does fantastic work at the state level. I'm predominantly at the federal level, but we've noticed a lot of trends going outwards and seeing issues arise in a variety of different countries. So we're working in the coming weeks to set up forums in Canada in particular to roll back some of the oppressive regulations in that country. And then, of course, we're having our day 2 of the policy summit, which will be hosted at our office. We've been in contact with the Dominican and Honduran embassies and cigar producing countries to get them involved. But a priority going forward, and Ryan Parada has done a great job on our team in really moving this ball forward, is to ensure that if there are bad policies popping up anywhere around the world, we're at least getting the information to retailers so that they can fight back. And that's going to be a priority of the association moving forward. Scott, myself, and Greg recently did a presentation at Intertobac in Dortmund, Germany, and talked about some of those case studies and common themes that we're seeing and what was successful in the United States, whether it be through the courts, lobbying, grassroots, public affairs, and communications.
Yeah, so one of the key points we wanted to emphasize when we were giving the presentation in Germany was the fact that we have a lot of data that's on our side, and we have a lot of research that's on our side that we've used very effectively, obviously, as we've seen some of the outcomes, whether it's through the lobbying or the policy aspect, or even with the litigation. And that's just data that really our counterparts overseas haven't had. So it was really interesting, and it was great exercise to be able to discuss a lot of the issues that come up in some of these different countries and what they're facing, and being able to share this information with them and being able to help in any way that we can in order to ensure that retail everywhere it has got some sort of stability or protection, or at least is armed with some arguments when any kind of overreach comes about.
And so we're really driving home the message that the United States being the number one market for premium cigars, that we have a duty and obligation to protect the interests of the industry first and foremost in the United States, but share those best practices and information and really carry our weight forward in other areas. You saw a little bit of this in our comment filing in the European Union, supporting the European Manufacturers Association. You saw that with Malaysia and our public comment filing there. And then lastly, we filed a comment in New Zealand, and Ryan Parado, who I mentioned before, testified in front of the Health Committee in New Zealand. So bad policy has a tendency of spreading, and that is something that we want to prevent from happening. Getting the facts and figures, not allowing bureaucrats and the interest groups, the anti-tobacco interest groups, from manipulating the facts and figures and conflating things together. Premium cigars need to have a voice, no matter where it is, local, state, federal, and international.
That'll be a good segue into the local and state with Mr. Glenn Luke to update everybody on kind of what's going on there. And we're looking towards the end of the year, but state legislative sessions by and large are going to start at the start of the year. But right now is when they're really kind of focused on setting the stage for what they're going to tackle in January.
Well, speaking of bad policy spreading, our number one issue of the day right now that's literally at our doorstep is the Prop 31 in California that would ban all forms of flavored tobacco. Now, granted, there's exemptions for pipe tobacco and defined premium flavored cigars, but that benchmark requires a $12 price point.
Wholesale.
And we know how bad that is. And so based upon that, Prop 31 needs to die. Every retailer in the state of California needs to band together, make sure that they're informing their customers at the point of sale, when they walk in and when they walk out, that they need to vote against Prop 31. We've got a strong coalition of retailers, wholesalers, distributors working together, manufacturers. We've built a coalition with the Cigar Association of America and National Association of Tobacco Outlets to join PCA in combating Prop 31, but it's an uphill battle. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Anytime you throw any tobacco associated issue to a public referendum, it's an uphill battle. But we've got to stay diligent. We've got to inform the customer base out there. We've got to do it from the top of California to the bottom. We've got to band together to inform at the point of sale and when they come in to vote against Prop 31. It sets a horrible national precedent, and that's the segue into what we anticipate in 2023. Flavored tobacco issues will probably be back on the plate in Colorado, probably be back on the plate in Maine. A host of other states are considering some type of an attack on flavored tobacco. And it's just too easy for premium handmade cigars and pipe tobacco to get swept up into that type of legislation. It's the same way we've got to be diligent in making sure we don't get swept up into e-cigarette and vape legislation. It's too easy for legislators, especially those that don't see eye to eye with our side of the cause, to say all things nicotine. And we spend a lot of time and a lot of effort educating legislators, working with our retail community, and getting the point across that not all tobacco is created equal. So with that, that's what we anticipate on the flavored front going into 23. Likewise, right now we're spending a lot of time working with our retail community to prepare our coalitions, to work with our retail brethren, to get our message together in preparation for the 2023 legislative season. We're going to be doing training sessions by region and by state, working with our friends in the Northeast, the Midwest, the Deep South, and out West on the issues that they can anticipate confronting in January when over half of this country's state legislatures go into session. We know that local authority legislation, for example, will be back on the plate in Kentucky. But likewise, on the good side of the equation, we know that a tax cap bill and cigar bar bill will be back on the plate in New York. We know that tax cap legislation will be pending in Illinois and Nebraska, New Jersey, possibly Virginia. So we look forward to working with our retail brethren, to broadening our cigaraction.org coalition to reach the consumer community so that they can be involved in petitioning their legislatures for the good and the bad. It's all about broadening our coalition. It's all about elevating cigar consumers to be a bona fide political constituency in each and every state legislature in the country. We look forward to working with all of our brethren to make sure that that happens.
And one of the statistics that we continually cite, and we cited it starting with the trade show and all of our reports, we take great pride in the fact that there has not been a legislative tax increase passed at any of the 50 states or federally in the United States in 2 years. So that's a stat that we're hopefully going to be able to continue and actually head in the positive direction next year. You mentioned flavored products and pipe tobacco in particular. One of the things that Scott and his leadership has tasked us to do, and we'll be releasing it next week or the week after, is a policy position and what we've done on pipe tobacco. Of course, with premium cigars, we've been hard charging, and I think sometimes the activities that we're doing on pipe tobacco, we haven't communicated as much of what's going on. So we'll give everybody kind of that rundown of what has been transpiring with pipe tobacco, what has the association been doing to provide a little more clarity and transparency on a line of business that is important to many of our retailers. So we're excited about the release of that, along with the trainings, moving forward. Scott, I don't know if you want to talk about the event that we got going on.
Yeah, so this is something we started doing a couple years ago, and very happy to be doing it again. So we've been holding fundraisers every year in the fall. These are fundraisers with the express purpose of adding money to the retailer defense fund that we have. It's all money that goes and is earmarked towards the vast majority of what Glenn does at the state levels and towards our work with state associations as well. So we're holding another fundraiser this year. It's going to be in about a month. I think it's actually 4 weeks from last Wednesday, October 26th. This year we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing some clay shooting up in Maryland, just probably about 30 minutes away from the office here in DC. So it's going to be a great event. We're going to go from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So we're going to go in the afternoon as opposed to the evening events we've had in the past. We're going to have a lot of great manufacturers who have donated some cigars and some really cool items for auction and some raffle prizes. So you're going to get anywhere from 10 to 12, maybe even more cigars with your ticket. You get, multiple rounds of shooting, the clay shooting. We're going to have coffee and donuts. We're going to have food. We're going to have drinks. And so we're going to have a really good time. And then at the same time, we're all going to get cigars and get a chance to hang out, enjoy each other's companies, and then have a really good time with the auction items that the manufacturers are sending us. So the Maryland event, it's October 26th. So it is a Wednesday, but we do have the place to ourselves. So smoking is allowed everywhere and anywhere. Lots of great cigars, have some great food. I believe barbecue, right? We're bringing in some barbecue. So we're going to have good lunch, and it'll be a really fun time for everybody that can come out to it. So you can find that. We've emailed it out. We've also, I believe we have it up on the website too, but if not, you can just email Scott at premiumcigars.org for any of the information, and I'll get that out to you. So we're looking forward to a good time. So hopefully we can see you out there. And I know that there's some manufacturers that have already said that they're coming in for the event as well. So it'll be a good time to hang out with everybody.
And it's important, this fundraiser goes directly not only to the work that Glenn does on the state level, but cigaraction.org, our portal that, is something that we put resources towards. Obviously there are 40, 50 state alerts every year, half dozen federal alerts, and soon to be additional petitions at the international level. I mentioned Canada in particular. We're really going to start examining countries that have gone completely no smoking, where there are retail shops, where there are cigar lounges. It's one of those things that I think that a priority for the association is, self-determination. If you're a business owner and you want to afford people of a legal age, especially if you're a bar that is 21 or over, you should be, as a business owner, to be able to determine a section where people can enjoy cigars, whether it's outdoor or in separate enclosed space. So we're going to be looking at that at the state level, but also internationally, where some of the proposals have been extremely draconian.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a quick summation. And so as Edric said, yeah, absolutely. That's what we're working on, is a good kind of with that pipe report, working on these aspects of where we can release so that everybody in the membership and even the public has access to all of the data and all the strategies and all the positions that we have and work that we have in all the different categories, whether it's pipe, whether it's flavors, whether it's taxes, whether it's even just the premium cigar category as a whole. So we want to continue to be that provider and purveyor of that information. So anyway, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Orlando, thanks for tuning in from Florida. Hopefully you are safe and dry down there. Appreciate everybody, and we hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the last day of September, and well, hope everybody has a great day and a good weekend. And
Just two final things with the policy summit. Day one is going to be completely live at the U.S. Capitol.
Yeah.
If you're interested, a member of the industry or enthusiastic consumer in the area, and you would like to attend our policy summit, registration will be going out shortly. And day two, the international side, we will be hosting it at our office here, but it will be made available virtually. So folks around the world will be able to view it much like it was last year. And then lastly, I know we have a few folks in our office today visiting for Little Puff. We just want to give a shout out to W. Curtis Draper and those guys for putting on another great staple event in Washington, D.C. that goes to a fantastic charity, and all of the folks that have come here to attend it and support the event.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, on behalf of Glenn and Josh, thank you again, everybody. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and hope everybody enjoys some great cigars, and stay safe and be well. Thanks all. Take care.